Welcome to an interesting episode of Love Stories. Love Lost in the Burning Grass. Part 1. The Visit. It was a cold Harmattan morning. The air was filled with the scent of burning grass as farmers prepared their lands for the season. Fongo, a small suburb on the outskirts of the vibrant township of Wa, was slowly waking up. The great baobab tree that stood gallantly at the edge of town, the communal meeting place for everyone in Fongo, lay empty. The night before, it had been bustling with laughter and chatter. Now it stood silent as I walked past. The people of Fongo were still in their compounds getting ready for the day's work. Men gathered their tools while their families prepared to head to the farms, children trailing closely behind. It was Saturday morning. I met a few early risers along the footpath, all dressed in their farming gear. I shivered in the dry, cold air as I made my way to the library. Then I bumped into Hafsa. "Where are you heading, busybody?" I asked jokingly. She ignored me and walked briskly ahead. I felt a little annoyed. Hafsa had always been my closest friend, and we were almost always seen together. Ignoring me like that felt insulting, but she could always get away with it because she was older than me. Still, I considered myself her best friend. I hurried after her until I caught up. "Hafsa, why are you in such a hurry?" "I thought we planned to go to the library to do our assignment. I have my books here, but it looks like you're not even ready. Are you coming with me or not?" I asked. "Yes, I'll go to the library," she said, "but not now. I must see my cousin Idris first. He promised me some shea nuts he picked yesterday, and if we're lucky, he might even help us with our homework." "Are you serious? Well, let's go then," I said, giving in to her request. We walked along the footpath, through Wapani, giggling and joking, playfully tugging at each other's wrappers, exposing our dry white legs. Part 2. The Proposal. We arrived at a large compound. It looked like the home of a prominent person. Instead of entering through the main gate, we went to a smaller door facing the main road. It seemed like a self-contained room. Hafsa knocked politely. A deep male voice responded, and soon he appeared at the door, smiling broadly. I knew him, though I hadn't known where he lived. Everyone called him Boozing Boy. "Come in, ladies," he said cheerfully. Idris was one of the local boys, boastful, always showing off his bell-bottom trousers and tight shirts that hugged his tall, slim frame. He wasn't particularly handsome, but he had a charm that drew people in. His laughter was infectious, and though few took him seriously, he was pleasant company. He brought out a small bag of shea nuts, tama, and handed it to Hafsa, then went back and fetched another for me. I thanked him warmly. He smiled, that same confident, easy smile, and walked us out to the main road. Then he turned to me and said playfully, "Will you be my wife?" I blushed and smiled shyly. Boozing Boy must be joking, I thought. He was never serious, so I brushed it off, but from that day his words lingered. The thought of Edres stirred something inside me, a new, fluttering desire I couldn't explain. Everywhere I went, his smiling face followed me. Whenever I saw him, my heart raced with joy and embarrassment. One day at the market square, he called out to me. "Hassana," he said, "I meant what I said. Remember, I will marry you." He worked at the War market as a hawker, selling aluminium pots. A hard-working young man, lively and generous. He often waited for me along the road to school, bringing me fruits or sometimes a little money. Then one day, as he waited for me by the footpath, he told me a relative in the US had paid for him to study there. I was happy for him, yet deeply sad he was leaving. He promised me he would come back for me. He embraced me tightly for minutes, looked at me sadly, and left. He was genuine. Part 3. Promise Unfulfilled. Some years later, Alhaji Norman sent his family to ask for my hand in marriage. My parents were honored. Alhaji was a wealthy merchant in our community with 3 wives and countless children. Every woman in Fongo considered it a privilege to marry him. When my parents asked if I was interested, I told them I wasn't ready. I wanted to continue my education. Alhaji offered to pay for it himself, saying he was willing to wait. But I refused. My parents were unhappy. They said if I turned down Alhaji, they wouldn't fund my schooling. I told them I would find my own way, that Edres would send me money. Then one day, a letter arrived. It was from Edres. My heart raced as I tore it open and read it on my bed. By the time I finished, tears were streaming down my face. I wept for 3 days, refusing food or company. Hafsa, worried about me, came to visit. I told her everything. Edres had found another woman in America, an African American. I sobbed uncontrollably. Through tears, I told Hafsa to write to him, to tell him that as a Muslim woman, I didn't mind being a second wife. Now, at 49, I am still unmarried, still waiting for Edres to return and fulfill his promise. Our love burnt in the burning grass, I suppose. If you have enjoyed this episode of Short Love Stories, like, comment, share, and subscribe to my TikTok channel.